Over 20,000 people turn up for vaccination at Kololo as MPs start induction to start service at Parliament. A very good evening once again. Welcome to our second edition of News Tonight. It's me, Micheal Jordan Lukomwa, with the man himself, Muhammad Mugalu, our sign language interpreter. In what we have this evening, over 20,000 people have turned up on day one of the mass vaccination at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds in Kampala to receive their first and second COVID-19 jab. Robert Onyango, our reporter, says that the 10-day exercise will scale up the country's fight against the deadly COVID-19.
The vaccination was to kick off at exactly 9 a.m. However, Kololo Ceremonial Grounds gates were opened by 6:30 a.m. This time round not to guests, but to those seeking for COVID-19 vaccination. Initially, this was an exercise conducted at the Ministry of Health headquarters, Murago Hospital and other spots, but due to the increase in numbers and the requirement for social distancing, Kololo was a better option for mass vaccination.
When we came here, we found the whole part of this stadium full of people waiting, all the way from 6:30, 7. That by the time us who came here by 7:30, the place was already full.
This was the waiting center for whoever was willing or whoever had come for the vaccination process here at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds. Then after this point, it was a moment of getting your records, national ID and whatever it was required to go for vaccination. Then the other tents, it is where the vaccination process was being handled. And it was a moment of anxiety here at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds in Kampala.
We interacted with a few of the jab recipients.
Very well know that vaccination is important. From when we were young, for example, we got the measles, we got polio vaccine. Vaccines are good for our health.
Unlike in the past where the youth have not been at the forefront of the exercise, this time round many have shown up.
It's only today when I've realized that we are very many people who are cowards, but in the other way who loves their lives. Because we have found here the service is very okay. It has been going on very well, and
since morning people are trickling in their numbers, especially people below 50 years. And that is a new paradigm. That's a new excitement we are getting, that people have now known the need and have woken up and said, well, the numbers are going up. We don't want to be victims, yet we've been able to be told.
Although the number seems to be scaling up on a daily basis, the ministry is convinced they have the capability to attend to it.
For instance, if in the next 10 days, every day 20,000 people come here, we are talking about 200,000 people. So we still have doses up to 200,000 doses to cover all those people. But should the people come faster than what we expect, we shall use all the doses that there are in the country, including those which are still left in the district.
The 10-day exercise, which kicked off today, Monday 31st May 2021, is expected to round off the vaccination process as the vaccines are set for expiry. The ministry, however, clarifies that vaccinations are still ongoing at all its centers across the country and in Kampala Metropolitan. Robert Onyango, UBC News, Kampala.
Over 2,000 suspects were on the weekend arrested countrywide for allegedly violating the anti-COVID-19 regulations set by the Ministry of Health to curb the spread of the pandemic. Spokesperson Uganda Police Force Fred Enanga says that more emphasis is to be put in to the high risk of areas, including Kampala and Wakiso, to control the deadly wave of the pandemic.
Due to the upsurge of COVID-19 in Uganda, police is reinforcing its operations, targeting rules faulters. The emphasis is more on border riders who facilitate disobedience.
I think they are untouchable, the border, where if they try to stop him, they can even knock you. So our emphasis was also to concentrate on them. This is not a lie. We zeroed on them because we wanted to inform them that they are not untouchable. They can also follow the rules like the rest do.
The second wave of COVID-19 is attributed to the public not following guidelines, more so in places of congregations.
Back to the old normal, where you can witness people having large weddings, wedding parties, We are witnessing large congregations in worship centers, at sporting events, marketplaces, arcades.
Over the weekend, police managed to arrest 2,124 suspects, 445 vehicles, and 2,088 motorcycles impounded during curfew time.
Right now, all these are going to court. And then for the motor vehicles, as well as the motorcycles, they are going to be served with EPS fines and tickets.
Meanwhile, on Matters Day, foreign trekkers will not be allowed to mark the day at Namugongo. The event will be held scientific and only accessed by 200 invited guests.
Now, even if the celebrations are low-key and with no specific threats directed towards the scientific religious festivity, the joint security teams have secured the event with a mix of our usual overt, covert, and surveillance teams deployed in and around the venue.
In another development, police has released the last payment of the 50,000 special police constables who supported its operations during the recent general elections. These have been directed to return all the police belongings.
So they should therefore cross-check with their respective districts and divisions, and those still in possession of government stores like uniforms and gumboots, platoons, should hand them over.
However, a limited number of these SPCs are to be retained for 3 months in some commanding regions.
They protected several voters and enabled them to express their voices. So they should therefore cross-check with their respective districts and divisions.
Police has also cautioned the public to be vigilant on the increased threat of motor vehicles and blacking off of number plates. This practice has been common on Kampala-Mityana Road, and so far 4 have been arrested. Lydia Chomkama, UBC News.
Heads of taxi operators through their umbrella organization, the Kampala Taxi Operators Association, are sounding a stringent action and penalties to be imposed on taxi drivers and conductors who will fail and have failed to implement the Ministry of Health standard operating procedures to curb down the rising cases of COVID-19. Reporter Shaidat Nasaku reports that the planned swing into action follows President Yoweri Museveni's public awareness address on the state of the COVID-19 pandemic in Uganda.
How can you say observe this?
On Saturday, 29th May 2021, the President of Uganda alerted the nation on the surging numbers of COVID-19 cases and how hospitals are overwhelmed. In his address, Taxbox was one of the hotspots identified by health experts in the transmission of COVID-19 in Kampala. Following this, Kampala Operation Tax Association has warned tax operators on the failure to adhere to the set COVID-19 standard operating procedures by Ministry of Health.
We are sending a serious warning to the taxi fraternity, both taxi operators and the passengers. We have therefore to enhance our daily operations of checking on those in violation of the OPs, and we shall stop anyone from taxi business services and may, if need be, hand the same day's responsibilities, preferably the police and the Kampala Capital City Authority.
The Public Relations and Communications Officer Moses Mawije Birungi has issued a list of guidelines to be followed by the operators, and failure to observe them, Mawije says penalties wait.
Always put on face masks to cover their or our nose and mouth. Number 2, to always wash our hands and those we transport or sanitize them every now and then. Number 3, to social distance while in our places of work, that is inside the taxis and the places of operation such as parks and all stages. It's our prayer, humble prayer to KCC and the police to assist us in enforcing the directives that were put in place by the National COVID-19 Task Force.
At the briefing, he appealed to passengers to shun tax operators who don't adhere to the set COVID-19 standard operating procedures.
They should as well be vigilant and tolerant.
Shaidat Nasaku, UBC News.
The Vice-Chancellor at Chambogo University, Professor Eli Katunguka, has urged government to open up Nambole Stadium as an isolation treatment center for the surging cases of COVID-19. Professor Katunguka made the remarks at a media briefing over the overwhelming COVID-19 cases reported at Chambogo University, and this surge has left the university with no option but to put an interim end to physical learning there. Our reporter Nyuram Jisha Jain attended the press briefing and filed this report.
Due to the increased numbers of COVID-19 cases at Chambogo University, the university administration has started tightening the grip on the enforcement of COVID-19 measures. The university is also putting much emphasis on online teaching as a remedy, staying the lives of lecturers and students out of danger.
We shall go ahead with Odell, and for those students who will not have benefited from this, when we resume physical classes, we shall provide time for them for face-to-face catch-up.
Since the university resumed physical lectures, it has registered over 50 positive cases from students and staff.
Definitely learning stations are not spared. At the moment we've registered over 50 cases of COVID.
Dr. Grace Melegura is also concerned about the delays in releasing the COVID-19 results from the central laboratory, leading to the surging of the numbers.
So most importantly is that when these students test positive, we have been opting for home care for these students, but as we know, these students still come back into the institution and infect their colleagues.
Professor Katunguka says due to the lack of isolation centers, the students and staff that test positive still interact with other students.
If government can open Nambole, then those who test positive can be evacuated. Because right now we have that challenge. People test positive, they may go and isolate at home in their hostels, but some of them keep coming.
However, he appealed for express vaccination of university staff members. Jane Nyiramijisha, UBC.
Legislators of the 11th Parliament are being inducted on how they are expected to conduct Parliament business. The induction was presided over by Speaker of Parliament Jacob Olanya, as we see in this report.
Parliament has started inducting legislators of the 11th Parliament, focusing on the rules of procedure, social etiquette, and their responsibilities. The function, presided over by the Speaker of Parliament Jacob Olanya and Deputy Anita Mong Anet, legislators were urged to argue objectively and ensure an evidence-based debate.
You are equal, yes, but only one of you can be given the attention of the House at any given time.
Olanya told the 529 MPs that the majority will be respected.
I have had debates in the House where the opposition on the matter was coming from the NRM, on the propositions coming from their own government, and the main opposition was coming from NRM. Those situations have been there. What it simply means is that members have decided to exercise their rights as members of Parliament, representing people who could not be here and speaking on their behalf. That proposition, which has been brought by our own government, is not right.
He pledged to work with the Deputy Speaker Anita Mong to have humorous sessions to his Parliament work.
I discovered that we process more business if the House is happy. We do less if everybody is annoyed. So, the Deputy Speaker and myself will try our best to put the House in its best mood.
Abud Katuntu, one of the senior legislators, cautioned fellow MPs when deliberating.
Whatever we do should be public. Our business should be public. That is why the press is always here. Actually, we have a huge press community in this House.
I've learned that it's very important to honor one another, and the language is going to change.
So for us, really, it's a milestone, especially for the new people that we didn't know that we would have learned on our own. So I want to thank the clerk and the Speaker of Parliament.
So we are so grateful that today they have given us the three major core functions, roles and responsibility of a member of parliament. That is oversight, representation, and legislation.
But Katonto's proposal to have identifications drew mixed reactions.
Once you have this that distances you from the people who voted for you, you move as an MP, you have a tag as an MP. For me, I don't believe in that.
In the current environment where we are, all covered, we are masked up, it may not be easy for us to notice or know each other. So I don't think there's a problem with the idea.
I don't like them because we used to put them on as we were still sort of school children. But now we are MPs and we are elderly people. Somebody looks at your chest and says that you are an MP. No.
Bernard Higa, Parliament.
Lawyers have lashed out at the judiciary for delaying to fix cases for hearing, which they say at times infringes on the accused's rights and the plaintiff's rights as well. This was during the opening session where Court of Appeal will hear 30 cases in 1 month in session, which will take place in Kampala.
With the aim of reducing case backlog, Court of Appeal has started to hear 30 cases in the session, which will run for 1 month. Justice Ngona Ntende will lead the panel of 3 justices of Court of Appeal, including Lady Justice Catherine Bamugemeleile and Justices Zama Christopher Madrama, to handle the cases. Among the cases to be handled include the appeal for Muhammad Sebufu, who is on a sentence of 40 years imprisonment after being convicted on charges of murder of Shabe, and Geoffrey Kazimba, who is serving a sentence of 15 years. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, these appeals are conducted via video conferencing from different government prisons. Although Councillor Richard Kumbuga disagrees with the system.
It's very unfortunate that even when you are seeing on the video, the pictures do not come out well. And I believe also their parents are saying, is this the lawyer we talked to? So my appeal to the judiciary is that they must equip the video link system very well, such that even during this COVID time, the rights of either a convict or suspects are upheld.
This is something that we need to assess and find out what causes it and how best we can improve it. So I will bring it to the attention of our IT department, and they can do an assessment, and then we see how we can improve on that.
Lawyers also disclose the effects of delays in fixing appeal cases for hearing, for which Kalemani explains the cause.
If this court finds them innocent and they are set at liberty, it means they have been serving and being punished for nothing over a decade. And now something over 10 years, it is so much. By the time you come out of prison, your children are out of school, you cannot compensate for that.
We have 14 judges in the Court of Appeal, and they at the same time conduct the Constitutional Court. So the work in that court is too high. They have over 7,000 cases being handled by 14 judges.
Some convicts have also failed to appear in court following poor connection in some prisons, forcing court to adjourn.
Given the situation we are in, the prisoners may be in a different prison, and some of those prisons don't have the video conference facility. This is something that we can discuss with the leadership of the court, especially the registrar, and see how best we can have coordination between the court and the other players, so that we move at the same time.
Among the appeals to be handled include convicts on murder, aggravated robbery, rape, defilement, kidnap with intent to murder, corruption, among other appeals. Deborah Namamonde, Nantongo Rebecca, UBC News.
A new board of directors for the National Environmental Management Authority, that is NEMA, has been inaugurated. According to the recently passed National Environment Act, the new board shall oversee the functionality of the authority for sustainable development interests of the country. This comes at a time the authority is due to get a new executive director as Dr. Tom Okrut's tenure comes to an end on the 30th of June 2021.
From Sunday Stevens Tikodri Togboa to James Okot Okumu as new board chairperson is the new development at National Environment Management Authority. As the new board takes oath, it is not lost on its chairperson that successful management of environment requires joint efforts.
We, the board, together with you, shall realize the vision of NEMA in ensuring sustainable environmental management. I accept the responsibility of being the chairman of the board of directors.
This commitment is in response to an appeal made by one of the outgoing board members, Professor Eric Sabiti.
You are going to meet many people who will be blaming NEMA for all the years. But you have to defend NEMA. Don't say that for me I'm just a board member, I go there to legislate or make policy. No!
The new NEMA board comes into office as the 10-year tenure of the current executive director, Dr. Tom Okrut, nears an end.
I end my tour of duty on 30th June. The new executive director is going to come to work with you to execute this agenda. I've been here for the last 10 years, 30th June, so I need to leave and leave for the next person.
But as he exits, he has high expectations in the newly inaugurated board of directors.
The pressures they will expect will come from everybody. As board of directors, they come from different constituencies. People might want to say, well, this NEMA is coming to press us on this kind of thing. Please hold them and help us do these kind of things. They come.
The new board is chaired by Professor James Okot Okumu and assisted by other members, including Dr. Priscilla Nyadoi and Dr. Charles Ekure. Others are Dr. Florence Grace Adongo, Engineer Katuire Munyorokam Bategana, Christine Mayengo, Chan Amos Lapenga, and Jimmy Chemonges Kuka. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Morrison Rakakamba has been appointed the new board chairman of the Uganda Investments Authority. Rakakamba's appointment follows the voting and swearing in of former UIA board chairman Dr. Emily Kugonza and board member Fred Opolot as now members of parliament for Buyanja and Pingiri counties respectively. Charlotte Amuge has this report.
Uganda Investment Authority has in the recent years heavily contributed towards attracting both local and foreign investment to the country's micro and macroeconomic stability. However, the investment body has been urged to promote industrialization as a way of increasing youth employment chances, local and foreign investment. The appeal was made at the inauguration of new UIA board members in Kampala.
The best way to actually do this is through investments. We need to create more jobs through industrialization, through value addition, because even when we talk about agriculture, we have 68% of our population still virtually in the peasantry world. These people, we will not be able to do so much if we cannot add value on what they are producing.
Because why are we industrializing? To create jobs, because the public service jobs are not enough. They're not sufficient enough to absorb all the Ugandans who get out of universities. So, the hope that we have as a country is industrialization.
Some of the achievements attained in Kugonza and Opolot's 7-year tenure on the organization's board include amendment of the new investment code, increase of operational industrial parks, increase of the institution's budget, among others.
Our attempt to amend the investment code 1991 started way back in 2000. It took us that long, but finally, in 2019, we were able to get our investment code amended, and the benefits are very clear on the table.
As we transition
to the political space in Parliament, a lot still needs to be done. Obviously, we have forged certain relationships that I believe should and must continue. Our departure from UIA must avail itself as an opportunity rather than something negative.
Among the appointed new UIA board members include Angela Izama, a Ugandan journalist, Beatrice Mpaire, the former woman member of parliament for Bulisa, and Morrison Rakakamba. Charlotte Amuge and Robin Yoso for UBC News.
Security organs in Karamoja sub-region are investigating circumstances under which an LDU and 2 people were killed by a mob at Longerecho Town Council, Napak District. The 3rd Division Commander Joseph Balikudembe says that the mob suspected a 60-year-old Abra Apanaluk and son, a 30-year-old Mark Abra, for being cattle rustlers and stoned them to death.
So the mob was on the other side. So they were stoning all the stones, and so that gentleman, the elder, whose cows were raided, was killed from this place here.
The tribal differences between the Bokora of Napak and Pian of Nabilatuk worsens day by day. The 2 communities accuse each other of cattle rustling. On Saturday, the 29th May at around 5 p.m., a 60-year-old Anapalaluka Abra and his 30-year-old son, Mark Abra, were tracing the whereabouts of the 29 stolen cattle in Lorenchankra Town Council, Napak District. Herds of cows at night and stoned them to death.
So those who were in the market here, the Bokora and Lorenchankra, had suspected that this could be the cattle rustling. So they started mobilizing and stoned them, and they were stoning them. The soldiers that were there tried to prevent, but they were overpowered.
They were just lynched using stones, sticks. 2 civilians and 1 soldier.
Some Karamajongs say it's the first time in the land people being killed in a mob justice.
Of Karamoja, there was no incident of mob justice here. Never. It has never happened. It has been always about guns, shooting, killing people.
And all people confirm. The worst point to even realize that even the one brother was trying to prevent the death was beaten.
Some people accuse Uganda police for failing to provide enough manpower at the police booth in the area where the mob justice was carried out.
As police need to step up this, because if you look at like a town council, Lorenchankra is a very big town council. How can you have 3 police officers in Dawolo town council? There is a relax a bit.
Seeing people lying in the pool of blood, we have to end this, because it has really it has made Karamoja to completely think of years back.
While local leaders are demanding for joint meetings to investigate circumstances under which an LODU and 2 people were killed, the 3rd Division Commander, Brigadier General Joseph Balikudembe, called upon Karamajongs to stop shedding blood over trivial matters.
We fight this. We, as this generation of today, we must fight the culture of bloodshed, the culture of hatred. We must stop it.
Brigadier General Balikudembe also cautioned residents to stop covering up criminals, but rather report them to authorities for the law to take course.
Your people, mobilize your people, that if there is anything to do with theft of criminals hiding, accept to cooperate to make sure that at least there is a harmony and cooperation, and we remove that wrong person, because it helps the community.
However, residents here believe with the joint efforts of leaders and security organs, criminal gangs will be dealt with.
So grieved, so hungered, and we believe with the help of the UPDF the soldiers, the community, the leaders. We are going to get all these people and put them to book.
Report compiled by Maureen Yiga.
But there has a
The Executive Director, Ugandan National Health Consumers Organization, Robina Katiritimba, has asserted the presence and setup of teams in institutions of learning to counter and reduce tobacco usage, especially among the young people. Katiritimba made the remarks in commemoration of the World No Tobacco Day running under the theme Commit to Quit, and appealed to government to strengthen laws governing tobacco usage in Uganda.
Tobacco usage is the main underlying risk factor for non-communicable diseases such as high blood pressure, lung diseases and diabetes, among others. Commemorating the World No Tobacco Day, the Executive Director, Uganda National Health Consumers Organization, Robina Katiritimba, said Uganda Revenue Authority must swing in and take action upon illegal products.
And we note that many people are shying away from the products that have graphic warnings, which is a good thing. That people look at the graphic warnings and they are so scared they don't want to buy these products. They are looking for the ones that don't have graphic warnings. So we need to enforce the regulation on graphic warnings. One of the issues is the soft cap. The soft cap is those cigarettes which are in the soft packets, and they are cheaper. They are much cheaper. If you buy Sportsman, for instance, you can buy it at 300, 250 shillings, and government gets only 50 shillings.
The call follows a surprise raid by the Ministry of Health, Kampala Capital City Authority and security operatives in bars, in which they managed to confiscate over 200 tobacco shisha pipes and pots and arresting over 50 addicts. The raid, which health experts say is unstoppable, is part of the activities to commemorate the World No Tobacco Day, while the Health Ministry and KCCA will keep a watch on bars where tobacco usage is rampant, with many teenagers falling victims of drug abuse and turning out to be mental case. Katiritimba says other teams have been established in schools to preach against tobacco usage.
We need government to strengthen the services to reach everybody who would like to quit smoking. There are many people and the services are not adequate. So we need enforcement, we need establishment and support of existing services for quitting using cigarettes, but we also need taxation. We need regulation that looks at illicit trade of tobacco industry products, and also to tax and ensure that those which come in have followed the regulations, such as graphic warnings.
She says the tobacco industry is taking the advantage of the lockdown to sell its products, but she reveals that advocating for the strengthening enforcement services and taxation in the market trade will be key in the fight against the behavior. Katiritimba recognized that there are a number of smoking activities behind the scenes and asked the population to have knowledge about dangers of smoking.
If you want to reduce the use of tobacco, you need to stop people from the initiation. You stop young people. If all young people would stop smoking.
She asserts that smoking activities are rampant among young people living in slums and attributed it to a lot of products on the market which are unregulated. However, Katiritimba says the Tobacco Control Act has been put in place to protect youth from tobacco usage. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
The Managing Director, DFCU Bank, Matthias Katamba, has said that the bank will facilitate the Village Model Social Services Program introduced by Rotary Club of Bunga. He was speaking at the installation ceremony of Samuel Majwega, President of the Rotary Club of Bunga in Kampala.
Changing the lives of needy communities involves providing essential needs like water and health services. The need to transform livelihoods of vulnerable communities are implemented through corporate social responsibility in partnership with groups like Rotary. The fourth president of Rotary Club of Bunga, also proprietor of MK Publishers Limited, Samuel Mwajwega Muso, has started his task with the launch of a village model project and installing the entire district Rotary team at Sheraton Hotel, Kampala.
We have started the project at Chiweka Sebobo, Mitiana Road at Busonju, and we look forward to start to build there a health center 3. Then I've started a Rotaract Club, and that Rotaract Club has already achieved the provisional status.
In this, the pledge focuses on programs that target education, health, and water.
Adoptive village, where we can do all of these projects, some of these projects, to adopt a village so that we solve the problems in that village, from water to education to health to conflict resolution by putting there a police post to economic empowerment, all of those areas, so that we touch the lives of those people in that village. That, in a way, is one of the things I want to start on in my presidency.
Director DFCU Bank Matthias Tamba pledged to partner with Rotary Club of Bunga in extending humanitarian services to the needy. Sudat Kaye, Robert Waiter, UBC.
UBC News tonight. Let's take a very short break. Please do not go anywhere. We have more in business, international, and sports.
Today in history.
Today marks 135 years ago, on 31st May 1886, after Kabaka Mwanga II of Uganda took a decision to kill the Christian subject. Saint Kayizi Chibuka, Saint Noah Mawagali, Saint Mayanja Chitogo, and Saint Mwanga are the Ugandan martyrs that were killed on orders of Kabaka Mwanga II in Mitiana on 31st May 1886. Mitiana is a district in the central region of Uganda that was created in 2005 by taking the Mitiana and Busunju counties from Mubende district.
In chess, the small one can become the big one. It's the same here. And here too. Watch every move. Record every number so you can plan better. No matter the size of your dream, tomorrow's success belongs to those who keep today's records clean. File your returns today. Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Century Points when you deposit, send, and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates from 1st May 2021. Everywhere you go, MTN.
Echa COVID-19 chijja kugwa. If we get vaccinated now, observe social distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly. Together we can defeat this enemy.
To improve quality assurance and Uganda's competitiveness as a tourist destination, Uganda Tourism Board is set to undertake a nationwide grading and classification exercise of hotel and accommodation facilities. As a member of the East African community, Uganda subscribes to the East African Grading and Classification Criteria, a system denoted by stars ranging from 1 to 5. The grading and classification exercise will be crowned by the awarding of star ratings to facilities found compliant to the EAC minimum standards. This is therefore a call to all accommodation and facility owners and managers to register and get licensed by UTB as a requirement and get ready for participation. For more information, visit www.utb.go.ug or email qualityassurance@utb.go.ug for details. Uganda Tourism Board, promoting tourism together.
The Uganda Bureau of Statistics, in collaboration with Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, will conduct the National Livestock Census starting on the 24th of May to the 4th of June 2021. The census is aimed at obtaining information on the structure and organization of the livestock sector and will collect data on all livestock types, breeds, and ownership by sex, land ownership, and tenure systems. The livestock census will be conducted in all the 135 districts of Uganda and will collect data from household-based firms as well as private large-scale and institutional firms. The indicators derived from the National Livestock Census will inform evidence-based planning and policy formulation. This is to inform and request all stakeholders at national, local government, sub-county, parish levels and all farmers to cooperate with enumerators and provide accurate information. For inquiries, please call 0757 779992 or 077 33 17660.
UBC Business News tonight. Uganda Airlines has launched commercial Uganda Airlines has launched commercial operations to Johannesburg, South Africa. The inaugural flight, UR710, was flagged off by the head of public service, Alex Mitala, flanked by the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Works and Transport, and the South African High Commissioner to Uganda.
Great day in the history of our national airline. We are launching the longest trip since we started operations. This one is a 4-hour trip from Kampala and Entebbe to Johannesburg. This aircraft you see, Bombardier, its flight hours is 6 hours maximum, but the maximum is allowed, they call it endurance, is 4 hours in the air. So that if it cannot land, the other 2 hours can take it to another place, destination. So today we are flying the longest endurance as far as Bombardier is concerned, and I'm very excited about it.
Our president has always emphasized Pan-Africanism as one of the pillars for Africa if it is going to be fully liberated economically and otherwise. I would like to, on behalf of all the people of Uganda, big and small, to thank the Republic of South Africa through Her Excellency here for having opened us this route, which, as you have already said yourself, should promote trade, should allow more Ugandans to go and do all useful things economic, so that we will both benefit.
During those times, and today we're working together to develop our two countries. We're working together to grow our economies. This launch inauguration of the Uganda Airlines today is actually going to promote tourism between our two countries. It will promote trade between our two countries. It will also promote investments.
Uganda climatic impact is severe in arid and semi-arid grazing systems in the country, where higher temperatures and lower rainfall reduce yields on rangelands and pasture quality. The private sector foundation project under the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries with Makerere University College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences are training nucleus farmers to boost animal production in 10 districts.
Grazing animals during a dry season is quite a big challenge to many cattle farmers. It becomes difficult for them to access necessary fodder with nutritional value for the animal. To address this challenge, private sector foundation MOBIP project, Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industries and Fisheries and Makerere University College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences are jointly training nucleolus farmers and trainers in 10 districts different fodder to boost animal production.
We are responding to 3 challenges in the beef industry. One is drought. Normally in the drought season, it's very probable that our animals in the cattle corridor will not have enough feeds. So during such times, farmers are forced to sell their animals at giveaway prices.
Rhodes grass, commonly known as Chloris guyana, is one of the species introduced to farmers in this training, planting as well as harvesting seeds.
We have gone through pasture variation, where we have taught them how to make hay, how to make silage, practically.
Experts say new breed of pastures introduced to farmers in farm management is very important. It helps the farm last longer.
We had the chloris here, but now the weeds have done what? Have eaten it up. So that's why I said it is important to do what? Pasture management. Pasture management, you make sure you are removing weeds.
Dr. Mukasa Mugerwa, a senior vet at Makerere University School of Veterinary Medicine, says every farmer needs new farming technologies to increase on the milk production, even on the quality of beef.
And the idea is that as your income improves, you are demanding quality beef. So we must help our farmers in order to be able, even those who are doing it on a smaller scale, to be able to access the technologies which will enable them to produce.
Here, the trainees appreciated the training and promised to expand the knowledge to other farmers elsewhere.
We are harvesting the seed of rhodes grass, and later on we are going to dry it for 2 days.
But this is good. So the value you see of this is also part of others can just concentrate in making the pastures.
French President Emmanuel Macron has vowed that his country will provide COVID-19 vaccine doses to help African countries speed up their inoculation drives. Macron, on a visit to South Africa, pledged her and other African countries to develop the capacity.
The first visit by the French President Emmanuel Macron to South Africa, and it's at the personal invitation by President Cyril Ramaphosa. The two leaders' agenda was packed. They discussed deepening of bilateral relations between the two nations, economic recovery and ways of achieving peace and security on the African continent. South Africa is France's largest trading partner in Africa, while France is South Africa's second largest trading partner in the European Union.
This has been a wonderful visit, which also solidifies a good friendship that has evolved between myself and President Macron. We generally see things more or less in the same way and are quite supportive on a number of areas and a number of issues. So we will continue working together, and for our two countries, this forms a very solid foundation to continue strengthening the relations between South Africa and France.
The bilateral meeting was mostly engaged with the issues pertaining to the COVID-19 pandemic. The two leaders spoke about the global COVID-19 response recovery plan during the meeting.
It is on the COVID-19 that we are feeling France's keen support and solidarity in that they are prepared to take the lead, to advocate Africa's case. And let me say that yes, France is seen as a friend of Africa, and President Macron fits into that role so well and so easily because he'd like, yes, the entire continent to succeed, and we want to promote good relations with France on an ongoing basis.
The French president vowed that his country will provide millions of COVID-19 vaccine doses to help African countries speed up their inoculation drives. He also pledged that France will help South Africa and other African countries to develop capacity to produce their own vaccines to fight the pandemic.
We want to build a strong partnership in order to speed up the giving of doses and technology transfer that will enable us to set up production capacity in South Africa and Africa and fight challenges to issues of intellectual property, which should certainly not slow down things.
The presidents also discussed the violent retaliation by insurgents in northern Mozambique, where French energy giant Total withdrew its operations following deadly attacks which affected both South African and French nationals. Macron said that France was willing to support diplomatic interventions if Mozambique requested it.
France stands ready to help, but at the request of the state, the government, the regional institutions, and the African Union. This is what we will do in this conflict, and we'll be working on the issues of Mozambique, and we will very much contribute to building a space of security and stability.
The two heads of states also paid a visit to the Vaccine Production Support Initiative for Africa at the University of Pretoria.
UBC Sports News tonight. The first ever inter-managers pool tournament in Masaka was concluded with Ronald Boka as champion. As John Barnes Centamo reports, the two-day championship hosted at KV Pool Arena in Nyendo attracted 32 players.
Return to sports after the COVID-19 lockdown has in the sport of pool been boosted by managers tournament in Masaka.
Tournament yeno nagitegese olwokuba nina ekifo kya KV Pool Arena kisangibwa wano kwa kidi y'abafaaza nga ekigendererwa kya kukomyawo bamanager baddemu okwagala omuzannyo gwa pool batuteekemu ssente weewaawo twagala okuzannya liigi mu kibiina ekifuga omuzannyo gwa pool mu Uganda ate twagala okubeera ne ttiimu ey'abakyala n'ey'abasajja.
Followed closely by several funds, the tournament attracted 32 managers contesting for the 400,000 shillings top prize.
Right now, today we are playing a tournament for the managers. So in the pool fraternity we have managers who facilitate players. You know, pool players don't have money to facilitate themselves. So that's why today we decided to organize a certain tournament today for only managers.
Pool Association of Uganda Competitions Director Ismail Kalibala believes the tournaments for key stakeholders are perfect as the sport recovers from COVID-19 devastation.
Pool in Masaka so far it has changed because it's the managers playing, but I think you would think that it's the active players playing, though the managers of players and different clubs have been trying to assess and see who is the best manager among the managers that inject money in the sport of pool in Masaka.
In the action and for the top prize, Ronald Boka beat John Richard Mulira 9-4 to win the top 400,000 shillings kitty at this tournament, played as a double life championship.
As a manager, I've found out that playing an opponent in a pool game, it is not easy.
Like it often happens at tournaments played at the KV Arena in Nyendo, there were prizes for all that finished among the top 8. The locals believe that cash impetus is pivotal for the sport's growth, especially among the youth, that improve their economic well-being. Others that finished in the money brackets were Robert Rinda, Godfrey Rubega, Junior Miro, and Omutukirivu BK. John Barnes, Sentamo, reporting.
FUFA has committed to promote beach soccer in the various regions of the country. The regions highlighted are Northern, Eastern, Uganda, Kitara, Kampala, Western, Northern and the Northeastern. This was revealed by FUFA President Moses Magogo hosting the team to a welcome luncheon at Javin Hotel in Rubaga. The Sand Cranes finished 4th at the AFCON 2021 Beach Soccer Finals hosted by Senegal Performance.
Objective that we separate this game to different parts. Of personally supporting beach soccer. I've been the chairman of the CAF beach soccer a few areas. So it is within our plan going forward to make sure that we spread the game to different parts. We want to use the schools and universities. It is much easier there. And this game can be played everywhere. It's not only where there are water showers. It could be anywhere where there is sand, or even sand can be carried to different places. So it is our objective going forward as a federation to ensure that we help this game. We're already doing so much. People may not know we're supporting the league. We pay the referees in the league. We pay the prize monies in the league of the National Beach Soccer League. But this is not enough. We think we should do more. We should do TV. We should do everything else. I think I find it very ironical. It has been our working doctrine that whenever a team is going to the final tournament, we sit down with the players and agree or give them the way they're going to be paid, so that when they are performing, they know what they earn. They earn per day in a camp, while in the country. They earn per day in a camp, while away. They have appearance fees, they have performance bonus-related fees, depending on how far they go in the tournament. This we have used all through. It's a standard. The same thing we did to the beach soccer team. They knew exactly what they were supposed to get. And by calculation, I think everybody will get about 7.7 million Uganda shillings. And this will be almost a total of $50,000 or about 200 million or 190 million. I mean, this is what the federation has said. But what is also been around and has been sold, which is very false and wrong propaganda, is that FUFA does not pay players. But ironically, there is no single player demanding a coin from FUFA.
That is the president for Federation of Uganda Football Associations and also an MP of Budiope, Honorable Moses Magogo. We thank you so much for watching. My name is Micheal Jordan Lukomwa with Muhammad Mugalu on the sign language and the whole team here. Wish you the best of the night. We'll leave you with Molin Kenyana here, who has the weather forecast report. Bye-bye and good night.
Hello there, a very good evening to you, and it is that time of the day when we bring you the weather report here in UBC. My name is Molin Kenyana. Now, we've seen a slight reduction in hot weather activities across much of the country. Nevertheless, we still have some rains across a few areas, and by 9 o'clock this morning, according to the available data, we did have some rains across Mount Elgon Highlands, with Bududa reporting a total of 5.2 millimeters. We also had Tororo with 3 millimeters, and Kampala was reporting 1.2 millimeters. Now, we take a look at our satellite analysis, where we see that we still have that high pressure system that is over the southern half of our continent, and because of that, we're seeing a slight reduction in wet weather activities. At the same time, we do have part of the rain belt that is aligned close to the western part of the country, and that is also bringing us some rains, especially across the western sector. And we could also be looking at some local effects over Lake Victoria that might enhance wet weather activities by tomorrow. But to be precise, let's take a look at Tuesday's weather forecast. Well, in the morning, we'll start off with those light rains, but that will be across the central part of Lake Victoria, extending all the way up to western Lake Victoria Basin. That takes in parts of Masaka, Liantonde as well. But the rest of the country, we do expect a sunny morning and also with a mix of clouds, but pretty sunny for northern Uganda as well as the eastern half of the country. Now, later in the afternoon, we are expecting to maintain those sunny conditions still across the northern part of the country and eastern Uganda. Elsewhere, we will be seeing mostly a mix of clouds and sunshine. We do have that forecast for light rains, but that will be across the islands of Lake Victoria. We take a look at our daytime highs, where we are forecasting a maximum of 28. That will be across the nation's capital, Kampala. We are likely to have a warm day still across northern Uganda. Temperatures will be from 31 to 32 degrees. We're also forecasting a warm 31, and that will be across Kasese. But we're looking at some of the cities we have for you beyond Uganda. We're forecasting sunny intervals that will be across Nairobi as well as New York, and a sunny day is forecast for Dubai. Take a look at that, 45, very hot weather. Well, I don't remember a day where we had a 45, for example, across Kampala and also for much of Uganda. This is really warm weather over there. We're also forecasting rainy conditions that will be across Moscow. And with that, we come to the end of tonight's weather report. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Micheal Kenyana. Wishing you a good day tomorrow.
Winston Churchill named it the Pearl of Africa. Uganda is probably one of the most gifted countries in the world.